Welcome to another episode of Golden Nuggets Tea and Tales Season 2, powered by Husby, served by Yasha. Yasha, what's been your biggest regret in your real estate career?
By far, the biggest regret was opening up a real estate agency without being a real estate agent.
Right. So most people start off as a real estate agent, very ambitious, and then they go on after a couple of years to set up their own agency. And some are even setting up months after. You did it the flip reverse.
Yeah.
You actually went into opening up a real estate agency without having any experience.
Nope.
How did that come about?
So the way I got into it, I was selling marketing packages to different companies, real estate companies, doing lead generation, Facebook, Google, and stuff. And I thought to myself, I could do this.
So you'd go in and pitch packages.
I'd get close to the agents and find out what are the things that they're looking for in a lead, what stage would the lead be in. They'd learn something from me, I learned something from them, and I thought to myself, I could do this.
Mm-hmm. So why not become a real estate agent?
Well, that's a good question. I got greedy,
right?
And I thought the owners make the most money, which they don't. Real
How
estate,
so?
Well, at the minimum, a real estate agent takes 50% of the revenue, right? So you're left with 50%, but then you've got to take account to the expenses of the office, the marketing that you've spent to acquire that. So when it comes to, if I made 100,000 dirhams in revenue, I'm taking home a guaranteed 50.
Yeah.
Whereas the owner might take home 30. He might have different agents doing that thing, so that's why I imagine that I can make a lot more money if I hired people and they started closing deals, that I could be successful in doing that. And long story short, life doesn't turn out the way you want it to be. And I realized kind of late into that business that, my agents are making a whole lot more money than I am, and I'm sinking.
Right. Okay. So let's just rewind. So you decided that you want to leave the marketing space or lead generation space, open up an agency. How much money did you put into it?
The license in itself costed about $20,000, and at the time, so this was about 5 years ago. At the time, there were local sponsors that you needed to take care of. Nowadays, you don't need that anymore. You could just be the sole owner.
Yeah.
So that was $40,000 just up front. There was rent expenses. Overall, just to open.
What were the biggest expenses?
Yeah, the biggest was the rent,
Second biggest,
and the furnitures and stuff. That's the biggest hit that you got to take, and the refurbishment of the office and stuff. So that's without opening the doors, I'm out of pocket about $100K.
Right.
Minimum.
Okay.
And I've got a small office.
And then finding agents.
Yeah, finding agents, recruitment. So naturally, I was just more focused on doing a lot of research on how this all works and, what the best way to sell. And I just went all over the place. And the valuable lesson I learned out of all of this is that if you do decide to open up a company, I'm not saying that it's not advisable. I think, look, if you have these aspirations, do it. My take on that is be niche, though. When you're opening up, be niche to what you want to sell, who you're going to sell to, and then look to expand and scale and hire.
All that good stuff. Okay.
Correct.
How long did the company last?
2 years.
2 years. Can you just paint a picture of that 2 years?
Okay, so the first few months,
You probably didn't expect to break even or to make a profit.
No, I knew I had people. I knew I had expenses, and we budgeted accordingly. What I didn't realize is that we were focused on the off plan when I first opened up the company, and what I realized is that we were successful in doing deals. I think we did a huge deal in month 2 where I was owed 315,000 dirhams, but that developer don't pay immediately.
Right.
And so the cash flow was really something that I never took into consideration. I never got paid that money until about 9 months after I'd done the deal. But me telling other people that I'm due to receive money doesn't really cut it.
Yeah.
I've got to borrow, I've got to do something, I've got to find out how to get all that done. And that really took a lot of stress on me. And my lack of experience in managing that stress is probably what took me over to the edge. So there were good times.
When did the edge come? How many months?
When I realized that I probably had about 2 months worth of cash to fund the business, and to kind of keep things running. I had to sell my car, took that money, and had to kind of continue going until I made until I started to let people go and start telling them that I had a thing in me where I said, eventually I'm going to close these doors. When is that going to be? I just took the action and just told people and laid people off and said, look, we're not doing well. You guys know this. I know this. Why don't we just, part ways and, let's be done with that. Eventually I made a big deal, which allowed me to clear off all the debt that I had and buy myself another car because I sold it, I had to rent and close the doors and said, never going to open up another agency unless I think until I have a lot more capital. I think going into it, you need a whole lot more money than what I had.
Looking back now, what would you have done differently?
I would have just focused on my own sales. And again, I said this earlier, but I think it's to be niche. Get into a community, get into a space where you find passionate about, and let it grow organically. When you have, say, 10% of that market, you can start looking into different areas and maybe start hiring other people. Whereas when I went into it, I was just trying to sell everybody and anything.
And at your biggest, how many agents did you have, or how many staff did you have?
Staff-wise, where I had a salary was 3, and I had about 14 agents. But then again, those are just variable costs that come into that with the marketing spend, the visas. And so... it was just one of those things.
And do you think a lot of people think because they're a really good real estate agent, they'll be a really good leader as well. How was that for you, being a leader in a real estate brokerage?
I mean, some people that are good real estate agents, exactly, so they can't be good leaders. It's there was something about Steve Jobs. I saw something about it where he said that the best managers are the ones who don't want to be managers, but have to do it because they think nobody else can do better than them.
Right.
And the same applies. I mean, just because you're good at sales doesn't mean you know how to make it transferable and communicate that to other people. And perhaps maybe you're not in that position and you don't want to do it, and that's fine. You have to kind of outweigh what is more important to you and what you want to do. I like to be a manager because I like to help people. I find the most joy in doing that. Some people just want to take care about their own finances and help others and help their family. Everyone's got their own role.
Yeah.
Right.
And how much money would you need today? Like, if you were going to do it again, you wouldn't do it without having how much cash?
$1 to $1.5 million cash, ready to go. Like, you're not going to worry about it, and you've got $1 to $1.5. I went in there with $250, pocket change. Yeah. Pocket change. I mean, I'm in this office here and I'm thinking, what the hell? How am I competing with them?
Yeah.
How am I competing? And the only way is to be niche and be that specialist in that area, just like anybody else.
Okay. Some great advice for anyone that's thinking of opening up their own brokerage. It may not.
Yeah. Well, some people come into this. I mean, some people are in this country. They come in like 6 months to a year. They open up their brokerage, and I don't know how they survive, but I know they've come into Dubai with money. There's an opportunity, and they serve the country that they come from. Yeah, essentially, which
is also a niche.
Correct.
It's a specialization. It's
correct. And that's it. You just take care of your own market.
Okay. Thank you much. Thank you very much. Any tips from someone who has opened up a brokerage? Leave it in the comments below.